Now was not the time to be having second thoughts. Eyes wide open, I watched the sharp tool move closer, growing bigger until I felt its cold touch on my skin. Wait, I was not supposed to be able to feel anything. Then, the surgeon began cutting. I don't think I was ever arrogant, just very naive. I was naive in believing the adults when they told me I was pretty because of my large eyes, rosy cheeks, and cheerful smile. No one ever said Charlotte is smart or Charlotte is funny, just Charlotte is pretty. And so it became common sense that pretty was a part of my identity, until one day when I received a notification from one of those Facebook games. My friend answered a question about me. Is Charlotte pretty? No. She answered no, and it hurt. I think it was because I equated being pretty with being loved. I remember it so clearly because in that moment, a seed was planted that would flower into years of insecurity and envy. It didn't help that I was at an all-girls school where most practiced ballet and gymnastics while I did tennis. That's when I noticed. They were beauty and grace. I was rough and boyish. They were quiet and cute. I was brash and hot-tempered. They were slim and sociable. I was nerdy and chubby. They were praised and I was jealous. And so by high school, I had become a completely different person. Since going through puberty, I was now spending more and more time on my appearance. I started dancing, especially covering popular girl groups, and even joined a dance club. All this time though, I could never solve my insecurities because as a performer, I thought that appearance was an important part of the performance. It didn't matter if I put in the effort or had the talent. If I didn't look the part, then no one would care how much time I had sacrificed for any of this. It didn't help that my biggest influence was the media. I grew up with a lot of Japanese, Korean, Chinese media who set a beauty standard for fair and smooth skin, slim bodies, and big eyes, with double eyelids. And looking at myself in the mirror, all I could think about was how my skin wasn't light enough, my tummy wasn't flat enough, and my eyes weren't big enough. Nothing about me was ever enough. And so that's when I started wearing double eyelid stickers that would create a crease to make my eyes look bigger. What I failed to notice was that there was a side effect. Using them too often or taking them off wrong will ruin your eyelids. It began to hurt whenever I did anything to my eyelids, but I fought through for years because beauty is pain. And by college, I couldn't leave the house without those stickers, even though they felt like sandpaper and needles. This wasn't sustainable. I couldn't wear these forever hoping that I don't wake up one morning unable to open my eyes, blinded. I knew I needed another solution. So I did some research and landed on another popular treatment: plastic surgery. In South Korea, double eyelid surgery is the most common type of cosmetic surgery. And because of that, it's affordable and fairly safe there. So I brought this idea to my mom. We weighed the pros and cons. I did all my homework. I found the safest clinic with the best doctors, translators, equipment, and everything. And Mom? Well, she knew how important this was to me, and not just for my confidence, but for my career too, so she said yes. And I started saving money. Finally, when the time came, we booked tickets and flew to Seoul. I remember joking, I'm going to come back unrecognizable. At the clinic, I was greeted by all the staff and had a personal translator. Everything was as I envisioned. Then, things started to go downhill. Over the next few days, I got atopy, a type of allergic reaction. Red rashes spread all over my face and body. I don't know if I was having second thoughts, but I remember thinking this was a sign that maybe I shouldn't go through with the surgery. As I went to the doctor's office for his opinion, he examined me, my ruined eyelids, my red skin, and finally told me, "You must do the surgery." I wanted to push it back, but the clinic had a tight policy and an even tighter schedule. It was now or never. I'd come all this way. I couldn't back out now, even if I wanted to. They gave me 3 hours, when what I really wanted was 3 days. Everything was happening so fast. They wheeled me to a room for a blood test. Then they led me to another room where I'd change into surgery clothes. After, they took me to yet another room where I was supposed to take a nap to relax my nerves and muscles. But I couldn't sleep. So, as I laid there in the dark, my thoughts just kept wandering in circles. What if it all goes wrong? Is this really worth it? Will I still be the same person? Were these thoughts a sign that I wasn't at all ready? Or was it just one of those times where I needed to take a leap of faith? Then, after what felt like an eternity, they came back, told me to wash my face and make any final preparations. They led me into the final room, the operating space, a bright room with a surgery bed in the middle, surrounded by sharp tools and tubes. My heart was racing, but I had to put on a brave face. I had made it this far. All I had to do now was close my eyes, let the anesthetics put me to sleep, and wait for it all to be over, right? No! I forgot that patients have to be awake during a double eyelid surgery. It's because if you keep your eyes closed, there's a higher chance the end results will be worse than when you started. Being wide awake during a surgery on your eyes is terrifying enough. But then, I started feeling it. Suddenly, I could feel every cut on my face. Suddenly, it felt like I had gone from an operating table to a chopping board. Suddenly, all my worst nightmares had come true. Every cut stung and burned. What should I do? Should I tell them? Is it supposed to be this way? I knew some basic Korean. I could just tell them, but instead, I tolerated it. Words wouldn't come out. For God's sake, I don't know why, but I tried to believe it was just a temporary thing. But it wasn't. It hurt and it just built and built. I bit my inner cheeks, wondering how long I had to hold on. I tried to express my pain through my facial expressions. I knew it was stupid of me, but beauty is pain. Then, the plastic surgeon told me to open my eyes. They needed to check the progress, and when I did, I burst into tears. The doctors in my room were taken aback. I shouldn't have been able to feel anything, let alone cry. Through my sobs, I asked them, "When will the surgery end?" I was so scared and so alone. I tried to hold on to the sacrifices I had made, all the work I had put into my appearance, and now this. But I was so exhausted. From the journey, from the allergy, and from fighting the urge to cry from the pain, I was having a panic attack mid-surgeries, and the doctors could do little but comfort me as best they could. After carefully wiping my tears away, a nurse came back into the room with some more anesthetic. As she stroked my hair, I could feel the pain slip away, and that's when my memory of it begins to blur. The next thing I remember was hugging my mom, who told me the bandages on my eyelids made me look like a panda. We stayed in Seoul a couple of more days after the surgery just so that the clinic would be within reach, just in case anything felt off. And when they gave us the okay, we flew back home and waited for my eyelids to heal. At first, I didn't want to tell people about it because, to be honest, there is still a stigma of people doing plastic surgery. So, for the first couple of months, I only told my close friends and family. But after a while, it just became too difficult to conceal, and eventually, everyone knew. Some people criticized my decision behind closed doors, while others did it openly. Some people complimented my looks, and some even asked me about my experience. Some just didn't care. And then, all of a sudden, neither did I. It took a trip to Korea and a roller coaster ride of a surgery for me to realize, but I didn't care about what other people thought. Not really. I wasn't happy because they thought the surgery was a success. No, I was happy because I thought it was. I changed a feature of mine and it gave me the confidence to live a happier life. I did it for myself and no one else. I'm not here trying to encourage or discourage plastic surgery, but what makes it different from a manicure, hair extensions, or makeup if they all help you love yourself more? Beauty is subjective. You might think everyone is beautiful. You might think no one is. What's important is that you do to yourself whatever makes you happy. Looking back on my childhood photos, I'd like to think I was quite pretty. And it wasn't my large eyes, my rosy cheeks, or my cheerful smile. It was the simple fact that I was confident. I was comfortable in and with my own body. And to me, there is nothing more beautiful than that.